This unlikely looking farmland landscape has thrown up evidence of our hunter-gatherer ancestors, evidence that has forever changed our understanding of life in the Mesolithic.
And there's one item discovered here that has gripped my imagination like no other. The world's oldest complete bow, unearthed here in Yorkshire 10 years ago. It's the earliest evidence we have of archery in Britain, and it serves as the starting point of a long and rich relationship with the bow.
In this series, I'm going to be uncovering the history of the bow, from its early use in hunting.
That's amazing. It's really, really brilliant.
To its development as the first true weapon of mass destruction.
Wow, but the amount of violence is staggering, isn't it?
Join me as we discover how this one weapon helped to define our island nation. But this was just the beginning of Britain's involvement with archery. It was a long and interesting history.
It would be a long journey from the hunting bows of hunter-gatherers to the war bow of medieval Europe. Birch, a key material in early bow construction, was replaced by stronger woods like yew and ash, and items used to create bowstrings would change from animal sinews to hemp or flax and linen. To explore how the bow developed from the Mesolithic into the Middle Ages, I've come to meet Todd, an engineer who specialises in making historically accurate tools and weapons at his workshop in Oxfordshire.
Well, that's a fine sight. Two Englishmen practising at the butts. That's a piece of history in its own right. Yeah. Amazing.
Yep.
It's a lovely sight to see. I thought you might like to see this. This is a Mesolithic style arrow. This is what our ancestors were hunting with 10,000 years ago. It's a bit mysterious because at that period people made tiny, tiny stone tools and glued them in.
It's still going to work viciously. I mean, it's a one-strike object. If you need to reset the head after, it doesn't matter.
But how do we get from this to medieval bows? That's the interesting thing, isn't it? It's a big step up.
Well, Joe, can you pull one of your arrows out, actually?
So this is sort of like a getting on towards late Tudor sort of thing.
Look at that.
So that's basically when arrows stop being a functional battlefield weapon.
What would be really good would be to explore the journey from this, one of the earliest, maybe the earliest form of hunting arrow, to this, the absolute, the zenith of military archery.
Well, it's not a straight line, but if we go to the workshop, I can show you roughly where we're going with
Brilliant.
Right.
Oh, here we are. What a great workshop.
So that's the arrow that Joe was shooting now. Let's say around 1540, 1550. But we start at the beginning with your Mesolithic.
Yep.
For me, what I'm seeing there is absolutely razor sharp edges.
Yep.
So that is 10,000 odd years ago.
Yep.
And then, of course, the Stone Age ends and the Bronze Age starts.
Yep.
Now, bronze we think of as being softer than iron, but actually you can still make razors out of it. You can still make blades plenty sharp enough. So in some respects, you might say that bronze arrowheads or iron arrowheads, there's not really any difference. You end at the end of the Stone Age, and then you're into the land of metals, time of metals. You enter an arms race now, and it becomes a race between the bows and the arrows and the armour. The first arrow that we have here, in fact, is this one, which is a Saxon. So let's just say that that's from around the year 950. Beautiful. 900, 950. Yeah. So you've got a leaf-shaped head, nice strong rib in the centre. Now these arrowheads are going to be iron, and one of the reasons that you have a strong rib is it gives good support, because the material itself is really very soft.
Yeah. Beautifully made.
And then the next arrowhead we've got here is a Norman-style one, so let's say from the, Battle of Hastings-ish.
And this is very much a hunting-style arrowhead as well.
That sort of hunting and warfare is probably largely, the heads are largely indiscriminate. It hasn't specialised yet.
Yep.
But again, you can see a lot of parallels with the earlier Saxon head with that Norman
they're
one.
very much so.
Of course, there's one item more than any other that has helped shed much light on this period: the Bayeux Tapestry. Completed sometime after the initial conquest, the tapestry not only helps tell the story of William's conquest, but also offers us a unique glimpse into the finer details of Saxon and Norman life, including how they fought, what armour was worn, and importantly for us, what weapons they were fighting with, including the bow.
Joe, you are uniquely qualified to tell us about the bows because you are an extraordinary bowyer, as I can see. Tell me about the history of the bow. I mean, we've got such a long history, don't we, of military archery in Britain. And infamously, perhaps the story that most people are familiar with was when our King Harold was felled by an arrow at the Battle of Hastings. What sort of archery equipment was being used back then?
So you'd have a yew bow, roughly the same draw weight as the one we're going to use today. So sort of 70, 80 pounds. For our testing today, this one is going to be pretty much similar to what they would have used at that period.
So we can see it in action and gauge what the arrows were capable of doing. So let's explore then the sort of draw weight that was being used at the time of the Battle of Hastings.
Okay.
The draw weight, measured in pounds, indicates how much force is needed to draw the bow to an anchor position. The higher the weight, the harder it is for someone to pull, and the more strain the bow can take.
I guess this is a moment of truth in a strange way. So you've got the scale set up. What draw weight length are you going for here?
For just 28 inches.
28, because that's what they were doing in those days.
Probably, yeah, slightly shorter than later periods.
Okay, and you've got a marker on that will hold on the maximum draw weight.
Yeah.
Because this is what a lot of people won't realise. This is a nervous moment for you as a bowyer, isn't it? Because when the bow is at full draw length, it's at its most vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hanging under it. Obviously, use my body weight to pull it because it's that heavy. And if it breaks, I'm not in a good position.
I'm going to stand back because if it does break, they go off with some force.
For bowyers like Joe, this is a tense moment. Any weakness in his craftsmanship could see his bow shatter here.
Okay. Well, you're above 70. It looks like 74, 75 pounds draw weight. That's a really healthy draw weight on that bow.
Yeah, a bow like this can be shot fairly accurately, so it's what you're wanting really at that time.
With Joe's bow having passed the test, it's time to take a look at the other quickly developing technology: armour.
So we've got a 75-pound bow in Joe's hands that we don't know that's the kind of weight they had, but it's probably more that than 130.
Yep.
So that feels about good weight for hunting. We've got some Saxon arrows, nice leaf-shaped head on there. And we're going to see what they do against the male.
Okay, no pressure.
Right, let's give them a bit of space. Well, that's the answer.
That would hurt. Oh, ouch. Well, that's pretty definitive. I mean, this could have hit brachial artery, couldn't it? But there's no surgeon of the day could fix that injury.
No, there's no question there. And also, it couldn't even luckily have missed something. That is right square where your stomach and your guts are.
Having seen what these Hastings-era hunting bows could do against mail, it's my turn to reacquaint myself with the bow.
I'm not sure I can even pull it back these days. So long since I've done any of this. So. It's quite tasty, isn't it?
That is about as good as it gets. Lovely.
You wouldn't want to charge on to that.
No.
You can see why an army of well-trained English archers was going to be a formidable force.
Thanks for watching this video on the History Hit YouTube channel. You can subscribe right here to make sure you don't miss any of our great films that are coming out. Or if you are a true history fan, check out our special dedicated history channel, historyhit.tv. You're going to love it.